It's working. Keep talking about it, Democrats. Keep pointing out that the Republicans are lying about it. Keep pointing out that Trump is starting a concentration camp. Keep using that language. It's working. I know it's only working for this one guy, but it is working its way through the court system. They are going to come back if we do not give up. Do not give up now. Don't wimp out now that Abrego Garcia specifically is in a slightly less dangerous prison. Still in prison for committing no crimes. Still hasn't been put in front of a judge. Still got removed illegally. Donald Trump still hasn't brought him back, even though the Supreme Court told him to. Don't give up. Don't quit now that you've gotten one tiny concession. This isn't about getting one tiny concession. It's about justice. It's about the idea that people shouldn't be sent to prison and then evidence gathered later. This is what all the politics is about right now. Kilmar Abrego Garcia, no criminal charges, doting father of 3 children with special needs. Wife is a U.S. citizen. 2019 court order barring deportation to El Salvador, which is where he is. Trump refuses to get him returned to the U.S., and even though it's an administrative error. Andrew Tate, however, charged with rape, human trafficking, sex with a minor, promotes misogyny, sexual exploitation of women, and to his followers. Trump administration pressured Romanian authorities to lift the travel ban and arrived via private jet in Florida. So, what is the difference between them? I really do think that Donald Trump just likes bad guys, you know? He just wants to be a bad guy. We're at supervillain levels, is where we are. They know they're bad, they know they're evil, and they belong to the Brotherhood of Evil. You haven't heard of them? Yeah. You haven't heard of either of them? I rolling. Yeah, I got you. They belong to the Brotherhood of Evil. And so they just do evil things for evil reasons because it's fun. You know, they're supervillains at this point. Donald Trump just wants to be a bad guy. And so he finds the good guys, locks them in a prison with no trial, and he finds the bad guys who are under trial or who are under suspicion of doing crimes and forgives them. I don't know what else I could point to. They're part of the Legion of Doom. You know, they want doom. They want the bad things. I think it's to send a message to everyone. Be loyal and be rewarded, otherwise be scared. That's right. If you support him in his evil endeavors, it doesn't matter what you do. You're allowed to break all the laws as long as you say Trump is good. You're allowed to do whatever you want. You're allowed to break all the laws, especially if you're a famous person. They just let you do it. And if you're a proud member of the Legion of Doom, you just get to break all the laws. That's how the system works now. That's the world we live in. The more power you have, the more laws you get to break. That's how everything works.
Hello human, it is me Kanuch. I need you to press the subscribe button. I have to feed my many AI babies.
Trump touts seemingly doctored photo of Abrego Garcia's hand in an attempt to prove the Maryland man is a gang member. I really do love how we're attempting to prove after we've sent him to prison. Is that how the system works? Is that how the system is supposed to function? After you're in prison forever with no sentence, no trial, no jury, no judges, then we bring the evidence out? And the evidence is photoshopped? Because that's what this is. He posted this photo. This isn't like an accidental photo. This is like somebody else added the Photoshop. The Photoshop is right here, the M, S, the 1, and the 3. Can we get closer on that photo? I don't think we can. I don't know. We can. Okay, we scroll in. So, let's scooch it over. That is you can see the Photoshop right there. The M, the S, the 1, and the 3. To the vast majority of stupid normies that exist in the world, they will see this photo and think that the M, the S, the 1, and the 3 are actually tattooed there. Because they see the photo, that's worth 1,000 words. They don't know how to read. They just know that Trump says it, and here's a photo, that makes it real. If you point out to them, hey, they added this stuff, maybe they'll believe you, maybe they won't. They'll probably just tell you to stop being such a liberal cuck. But if they have to defend this, they'll say, yeah, we photoshopped the M and the S, the 1 and the 3, because that's what these symbols mean. You see, that's a marijuana leaf. Marijuana starts with M. That's a smiley face. Smiles start with S. This is a cross that stands for 1 somehow, and that's a skull. That stands for 3 somehow. We don't know how. And damn you for asking, you damn liberal idiots. What are you thinking? Of course, skull stands for 3. It's always stood for 3. Don't you know? They'll just make some shit up. President Donald Trump posted a photo of himself holding a seemingly digitally altered image of the left hand of Kilmar Abrego Garcia, who was wrongly deported to El Salvador last month. Abrego Garcia is currently incarcerated in a prison in El Salvador despite the 2019 court order banning his removal to that country. Lawyers for the Trump administration initially admitted that the Maryland father of 3 was sent to El Salvador due to an administrative error. Oh, don't worry. The lawyer who said it was an administrative error has been fired. But the president and his top officials say they will not retrieve him and claim Abrego Garcia is a member of the notorious gang MS-13. Last week, the U.S. Supreme Court upheld a lower court ruling instructing the administration to arrange his return and has been charged, and that he has not been charged with a crime. He has not been charged with a crime. Even if this is accurate, that's not a crime, man. You can get "I am a member of MS-13" tattooed across your forehead. That's not a crime. You're allowed to do that. He doesn't even have MS-13 on his body, but this is the evidence. The accusation is all that matters to people who follow Donald Trump. The accusation is all they need. They will make up all the accusations they can, and they will throw you in prison first. Prison first, then the accusations come second, then the proof comes third. And you wait in prison while they literally manufacture evidence against you. This is insane. This is some fascist shit. On Friday, Trump posted a message to his Truth Social platform with an image purporting to be Abrego Garcia's left hand. It features tattoos on his fingers that government officials previously described as a marijuana leaf, a smiley face, a cross, and a skull. But the image Trump is holding, MS-13, is now spelled across the knuckles. However, Matt Novak of Gizmodo pointed out on Blue Sky that a photo of Abrego Garcia, this is another photo of him, the letters MS and the numbers 13 are not there because they don't exist there. And so, one, fake news, literally being held by the president of the country, who is then retweeting it and sending it out on his social media platform that he owns that's called Truth. That's some fucking dystopian shit right there, man. That's some 1984 shit, isn't it? He spreads gigantic super lies on the media platform that he owns called Truth Social. He's going to set up the Department of Love next, and they're going to torture people. He's going to set up the Department of Peace, and they're going to drop bombs on people. He's going to put together he's going to point at everything that is true and say it's fake. We're in 1984 now. This is where we are. And the president gets to just lie his ass off anytime he damn well feels like it. And we all have to react to it. We can't be ahead of time. We can't beat them to the pass because they own the media. Republicans will tell you that it's all the media and all the TVs and all the movies and everything is left wing. They're wrong. They're lying. All the news media leans to the right. All of them. Even MSNBC leans further to the right than the people tell you. They want to make a profit. And they make a profit by putting out ideas that counter what Trump is saying. That's it. They're not leftists. They're not pushing a left agenda. They're pushing a Democrat agenda most of the time because the Democrats are paid opposition. They aren't working their asses off to get rid of him. What they're doing is reacting to all the bullshit that he spews. He says something crazy, then they all react to it. And then tomorrow he says something else crazy, like the MS-13 right there that we just saw, and then they all have to react to it. And then tomorrow he'll talk about trade imbalances, and they'll all react to that. And then the day after that, he'll talk about immigration again, and they'll all talk about that. They don't get ahead of him because you can't get ahead of him because you don't know what he's going to do tomorrow. Tomorrow, 420, we might get some martial law. That was the video I put out a couple of weeks ago. And a few people who have suggested that, hey, this is the day that he's going to really push for military takeover of the country. So that might happen tomorrow. But we can't get ahead of that because we have to talk about this today. You know? It's very difficult. He floods the zone with shit. It's the Bannon quote. Let's keep going. What did we see? We saw a senator go and visit him. So there is Abrego Garcia. There he is. He's right there. Kilmar is here. And here is the Maryland senator. Now, this is a difficult photo because senator who visited Abrego Garcia exposes Margarita Gate set up by the El Salvadoran president. So he went to visit him. They brought him to a restaurant. And then they put fake fucking margaritas in front of them. because they want you to stop asking about the torture prison. They put him in regular clothes. They didn't put him in his prison uniform, which we saw him in a prison uniform in the previous photos of him. And then they put water and salt-rimmed glasses in front of them to make it seem like it's a pleasant, lovely place. A wonderful time Garcia's having over there in prison. Those aren't margaritas, that's water with salt rim around the rim. Why did they do that? Because they don't want you to talk about, know, or think about the torture prison, the gulag. Do you know what this really reminds me of? Well, let's read this, and then I'll tell you what it reminds me of. Senator Chris Van Hollen, the Democrat from Maryland, pushed back against claims that he was sipping margaritas with unlawfully deported Maryland resident Kilmar Abrego Garcia during their meeting in El Salvador. The claim was made on Thursday evening by El Salvador's president, Nayib Bukele, who posted photos of the meeting in a cheeky tweet. Kilmar Abrego Garcia miraculously risen from the death camp and torture, now sipping margaritas with Senator Van Hollen in a tropical paradise of El Salvador. But that's not how it happened.
A moment I hadn't planned to do this, but as I was landing on the airplane, I got a transcript of some questions President Trump was asked at the White House today about what I would call Margaritagate. I don't know if you guys have been following this, but President Bukele, after I met with Kilmar, did this tweet showing us at a table with these two glasses. So here's what happened. When I first sat down with Kilmar, we just had glasses of water. I think maybe some. And as we were talking, one of the government people came over, deposited two other glasses on the table with ice, and I don't know if it was salt or sugar around the top. They look like margaritas, and if you look at the one they put in front of Kilmar, it actually had a little less liquid than the one in front of me, to try to make it look, I assume, like he drank out of it. Let me just be very clear. Neither of us touched the drinks that were in front of us. And if you want to play a little Sherlock Holmes, I'll tell you how you can know that. So if you look at the video or the picture I sent out from the beginning of our meeting, you'll see there are no glasses on the table. So you'll see in later videos they are, but they made a little mistake. People are very careful, right? If you sip out of one of those glasses, some of whatever it was, salt or sugar, would disappear. You would see a gap. There's no gap. Nobody drank any margaritas or sugar water or whatever it is. But this is a lesson into the lengths that President Bukele will do to deceive people about what's going on. And it's also shows the lengths that the Trump administration and the president will go to, because when he was asked about a reporter about this, he just went along for the ride. So the White House and the president had been lying about this case from the beginning. They've been trying to change the subject from the beginning.
So, yeah, what does this remind me of? This reminds me of the swimming pools at Auschwitz. You've probably heard this if you've been online for any length of time. Online neo-Nazis will tell you that there were swimming pools and theaters and all kinds of really nice things at the Auschwitz concentration camp, the death camp, where they killed thousands and thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands of Jewish people. They don't want it to be true. So they make up some horse shit about them having swimming pools and theaters, and it was a really good time. This is exactly the same situation. The person who is in the concentration camp right now is being put in a photo next to a margarita. The same way this swimming pool proves that they didn't murder a bunch of people at Auschwitz. I don't call Donald Trump a fascist because it's fun. I don't do it because it's edgy and it makes me sound cool. I do it because he is doing fascism. He is borrowing ideas from the Nazi playbook. That is why I call them the things that I call them. This isn't an end that I found some way to get to. It is me looking at the evidence, looking at what's happening, and then describing it. They are fascists and they are doing fascism. They are lying to you about this person and the things that happened to him to get the political win that they want, which is kicking people out of the country, starting up concentration camps so that they can send people to them when they feel like it. There are people who want Trump to be correct. They believe he is correct. They feel good when he talks. And they need a reason to believe him, because it's bullshit. Bullshit is a very thin paint. Lies are a thin paint that you have to keep reapplying over and over again, or else the truth will shine through. So they need more lies every day. They need another one. Hey, this guy Garcia was a bad guy. Well, there's no evidence. Well, he's got these tattoos. So, and he was here sipping margaritas, so it's not so bad. And listen, he's not a saint. He had a restraining order. His wife put out a restraining order against him, and he had a parking ticket, and he's actually a member of MS-13, and the tattoos really do mean MS-1 and 3. They need to keep piling on the lies and the bullshit to make themselves feel better. And he was drinking margaritas, so it can't be a concentration camp. And they had swimming pools at Auschwitz, so it couldn't have been a concentration camp. They need the lies to continue feeling good about the things that the government they support does. If you want to support Hitler, you would say, they have swimming pools at Auschwitz, okay? It's okay. Quit freaking out. It's not a concentration camp. They have swimming pools, okay? They have theaters. It's a great place. If you want to support Donald Trump and his fascism, you will say, Garcia's drinking margaritas. He's having a good time. He is a criminal, and he belongs in prison, but he's not even in prison. He's drinking margaritas. It's great. He looks fine. He looks healthy to me. Look how fat he looks. He can't possibly be starving. Let's hear what actually happened, other than the controversy of the margaritas. Van Hollen held a press conference. During the press conference on Friday, he said that Abrego Garcia had told him he had been moved from CSOT mega prison to a detention center with improved conditions. Because we keep talking about it, because we're pointing it out, because we're claiming these things are a big deal. It's working. Keep talking about it, Democrats. Keep pointing out that the Republicans are lying about it. Keep pointing out that Trump is starting a concentration camp. Keep using that language. It's working. I know it's only working for this one guy, but it is working its way through the court system. They are going to come back if we do not give up. Do not give up now. Don't wimp out now that Abrego Garcia specifically is in a slightly less dangerous prison. Still in prison for committing no crimes. Still hasn't been put in front of a judge. Still got removed illegally. Donald Trump still hasn't brought him back, even though the Supreme Court told him to. Don't give up. Don't quit now that you've gotten one tiny concession. This isn't about getting one tiny concession. It's about justice. It's about the idea that people shouldn't be sent to prison and then evidence gathered later. According to Van Hollen, Abrego Garcia said that he had been previously held in a cell with 25 other inmates and was traumatized by being at CSOT, expressing fear of prisoners in nearby cells who had taunted him regularly. The senator said Abrego Garcia was transferred 9 days earlier in a facility in Santa Ana, where he remains in isolation without access to television, internet, or any form of outside communication. He said the conditions were better at his new detention center, but he was still in a total blackout. The senator described a deeply emotional moment during the meeting. Abrego Garcia, dressed in plain clothes and a baseball cap, became visibly distressed when talking about his family, particularly his 5-year-old son with autism, who was with him when he was arrested in U.S. authorities in Maryland. He immediately started welling up and crying. Okay, that makes people feel things, but I'm interested in the bigger picture. Is it sad that he's been abducted? Yes, but we have to look at the big picture. Stupid people talk about people. And this is what happens. I even had some people on Blue Sky telling me this, who were pointing out every flaw that this man had ever made in his entire life. They were on Blue Sky saying, hey, why are you defending him? He has a restraining order against him. Hey, why are you defending him? He got a speeding ticket one time. Hey, why are you defending him? He came into the country illegally. Hey, why are you defending him? He's no angel. You saw this during the BLM protests and the stuff as well. He's no angel. Stupid people will use this argument because stupid people talk about people. The only important thing to them, because they are mentally not high up, they're a little low on the intelligence scale, will say, hey, what is he? How do we measure him? Oh, he's got tattoos? Well, he's clearly guilty. He's got a restraining order? He's clearly guilty of everything. He came into the country illegally? He's guilty, needs to go to prison forever. They will point to these things, just like with the BLM riots, the guy was on fentanyl. Okay, well, that doesn't mean you get strangled to death. He was no angel. He committed crimes when he was a kid. Okay, well, that doesn't mean you get thrown into the gulag for eternity. Normal people talk about the event. Stupid people talk about people. Regular people talk about events. What happened? He got black-bagged. He got sent to the CSOT, and he got out, and now he's in a better place. They might call that a win. It's not a win, because smart people talk about the ideas. What does it mean that a person can get picked up and black-bagged and sent to a gulag? What does it mean? What is the ideal behind ICE? What does it mean for you? What does it mean for me? What does it mean for everyone that there are 130 other people that got sent to this prison at the same time? What about them? What is the idea that our society is putting out? The idea, as I see it, is that if you disregard, if Donald Trump doesn't like you, he can send you to a concentration camp. They don't need judges. They don't need juries. They don't need lawyers. They don't need evidence. They can put all that shit together later. Prison first, evidence later. That is the idea that makes me unhappy. That is the idea that makes me pissed off. That is the idea that I'm trying to talk about. Is Abrego Garcia a gang member? I don't think so. There's no evidence to suggest that. If he is, that doesn't mean you have to be sent to the gulag. Evidence, trials first, then sentencing and punishment. In that order. If you do that out of order, the idea is wrong. You're wrong about the ideas. Let's see. So, what else have we got? Lawyers rush to Supreme Court over imminent Alien Enemies Act deportations, because there's more deportations coming. This isn't over. They're still trying to do it. A lower court judge indicated the case is out of his hands after the ACLU filed a flurry of emergency litigation on Friday. So yesterday, they did this. Lawyers representing Venezuelan immigrants rushed to the Supreme Court and multiple lower courts on Friday, seeking emergency orders to prevent what they said was another round of imminent deportations to an El Salvador prison under the Alien Enemies Act. The lawyers said that the Trump administration is defying Supreme Court order by attempting further deportations under the act without the required level of due process. The deportations could happen as early as Friday evening or Saturday, they said. The due process is an idea that everyone needs to have proper representation, have their stuff put in front of a judge, and nobody gets sent without the proper process happening. Charges, evidence, lawyers, defense, jury, sentencing, then you're sent to prison. And if you skip any of that, you haven't done the due process. The idea is out of whack. I don't care how much of a terrible criminal you are, actually. You get the due process. I don't care that you're an illegal immigrant. You get the due process. I don't care that you said loudly into a TV camera that you committed 98 murders. You get the due process. Their clients were given deportation notices and were being loaded into buses, presumably headed for the airport. The lawyers wrote an emergency appeal to the Supreme Court. Meanwhile, at a hastily called district court hearing, a Justice Department lawyer said that no deportation flights were scheduled for Friday evening and that the Department of Homeland Security was not aware of any current plans. But these guys don't know what's going on. These lawyers for the Justice Department are kept in the dark on purpose so that when they lie to a judge, they don't know they're lying. But the Justice Department lawyer, Drew Ensign, added, "I've also been told to say they reserve the right to remove people tomorrow." I have been told to say, because that way he's just following orders. Again, more and more, it's easier to call them fascists every day. It becomes easier. 5 years ago when I was doing it, I seemed like a lunatic. But now we're here. I get to call them fascists because they're doing fascism. In a flurry of emergency litigation, the ACLU argued that any imminent deportations would be indirect contravention of an April 7th ruling from the Supreme Court, which said people deemed alien enemies must be given a meaningful opportunity to challenge their deportations through a legal mechanism known as habeas corpus. This is part of the process, the process that is due to them. I do not think that the Supreme Court anticipated that its ruling would be ignored like this, the ACLU attorney said. Boasberg said that he was deeply troubled by the deportation notices that were given to Venezuelan nationals detained in Texas. Those notices, he said, do not appear to comply with the Supreme Court's requirement that detainees be given the meaningful due process. Also, they're Venezuelan, and they're being sent to El Salvador. Americans, listen, I know. I went through an American education, too. We weren't taught very much geography. We weren't taught very much history. I dig that. I went to a public school. They taught me very little, except football. Now, Venezuela is not El Salvador. Those are two different countries. Shocking, I know. You're shocked by this, amazed that I could comprehend that, even though I had an American education. But people, the conservatives, listen, those are two different countries. If you have a Venezuelan, and the court has said they are here illegally and they should be deported, you send them to Venezuela and you drop them there in public, in a place. You let them out of the airport. At the airport, they can deal with themselves after that. That's deportation. That's how deportation used to work. Hey, you're from Venezuela. You're not supposed to be here. The judge has seen the evidence. He did not approve of your asylum status. You're being sent back. The American government flies you to Venezuela. They drop you off. You're on your own. Not forcing them into an El Salvadoran prison. That's not deportation, man. That's not how that works. He didn't commit a crime, but you're putting them in prison without a judge, without a jury, without a trial, without a defense, in a country that they don't belong to. That's the idea. That's the problem that we're having with this. This is why it's such a big damn deal and everybody's talking about it, and all the conservatives are trying to prevent it and trying to defend it because they don't have ethics. They don't know how things work. They just know that it feels good to get the brown people out of their country. They don't care how the process works. They don't care what process they were supposed to have. The conservatives don't care about the constitutional protections that the illegal immigrants actually do have. They don't care about that shit. They just want them gone because they hate them. They have been conditioned to hate them from right-wing media. Right-wing media has right-wing media has told us all. Most of it, some of us just don't believe it. They've told us all to hate the immigrant, to fear the immigrant, to remove the immigrant. They've told us that. Now, some of the smarter of us don't accept that idea. But the people who do accept that idea will abandon the Constitution to get that done. And if they'll abandon, again, this is an idea, if they'll abandon the Constitution to get what they want, they're being un-American, if you ask me. They're being anti-freedom. They're being anti-constitutional. The conservatives are the ones abandoning the Constitution right now. Every day they do it. Every day this guy is gone, his rights have been harmed. Every day they send another person. Without a trial, their rights are being harmed. They're being unconstitutional. But they don't know that because right-wing media lies to them.
Pressing the thumbs up button will release chemicals in your human brain that will make you feel.
How about some more lies? How about some more lies? I got some lies for you, baby. Let's look at this absolutely disgusting video. Now, I guess I have to trigger warning because I have to. There is some very graphic language in this little bit right here, and it's very rough, and it might actually get me in trouble. It's already on YouTube, but maybe I'll get in trouble. I don't think I might get banned for the words that this woman is going to say in public to the fucking press. Don't ban me, YouTube. Come on.
A lot of you don't know the whole story about Rachel and about the crime that was committed against her. Even us, her family, we didn't know all the details. They kept most of it close to their chest, the detectives, because they didn't want to do anything to hurt the case. They wanted to keep the integrity of the case, so they kept everything close. I sat for the last 2 weeks in her trial, and we saw layer upon layer upon layer of evidence against the accused, an illegal immigrant from El Salvador.
An illegal immigrant from El Salvador harmed her daughter. That illegal immigrant was then caught, found, arrested, charged, and given a trial. Abrego Garcia had none of these things.
And the things that we...
No crime, no accusation, no judge, no trial, but he got sent away and no sentence.
thought, well, maybe this might have happened. We didn't know, but when we were at the trial, we got all the puzzle pieces. And I want to share some of those things with you.
All the puzzle pieces? No, she's not talking about puzzle pieces. She's talking about graphic, disgusting violence, which is she's about to describe.
You know that Rachel's a 37-year-old mother. She has 5 children. We've walked the trail for the last 25 years that we've lived in Maryland. It's a safe place for our family. It's where we go to get a little bit of New England, because that's where we're from, New England. When she went on that trail that day, she was not planning on dying. She wasn't planning on walking to her death.
That's stupid. You're stupid. I'm sorry that your child got harmed, and I wish it hadn't happened. But don't go on the fucking news, literally at the fucking press corps of the fucking White House, and say she wasn't planning on dying that day. The hell does that even mean?
She was planning on going to the grocery store with her girls afterwards. Victor Martinez, he waited for her.
Victor Martinez. Is that Abrego Garcia? No. That's a completely different person. Victor Martinez, who has been accused and found guilty of committing this crime. Not Abrego Garcia. You see, they're two different people. Conservatives don't know that these are two different people. They don't. Victor Martinez is a horrible criminal. That means that all people from El Salvador need to be kicked out of the country. That is the point that she is about to drag us towards, and that the White House approves of, and the conservatives agree with. Victor Martinez, El Salvadoran, committed a crime. That means every fucking El Salvadoran in our country needs to go to prison. All of them. Doesn't matter if they're here legally. Doesn't matter if they've got court cases keeping them here. Doesn't matter that they're innocent of all crimes. They need to go. Let's listen to her spit some more sad story that the fascists are going to exploit to control your feelings.
He waited for her to come closer. He saw her. He saw that there was nobody around. He attacked her. He dragged her 150 feet, blood gushing from her head. It left a 150-foot trail of her blood to the culverts, where he picked her up, he threw her against the wall of the tunnel, and he raped her. But before he did that, he stopped on that trail, and rocks, still stained with her blood, he used them to hammer her head against those rocks. They say at least 20 times they could count the cuts in her head. They said that when they did the autopsy, and I've seen the pictures, there's a 6-inch square in the back of her head where the skull is shattered the way that you would crush an eggshell in pieces. 3/4 of her brain hemorrhaged. Her right and left side of her face bashed in. Her beautiful face bashed in. Her head bashed in. Broken bones, fractures. He takes and he drags her some more. He drags her through the thorn bushes. She has all the scrapes and cuts on her body. There wasn't 1 inch of her body that didn't have some kind of injury, whether it's bruising, broken bones, contusions, the scratches. She had a fractured rib, fractured nose, fractured skull. And then he takes her into the tunnel and he picks her up. He throws her against the wall. Blood is gushing from her head. Her hair is soaked in blood. And they showed us pictures of her body against the wall, outlined. The blood outlined her body. And you could see where the blood ran down around her as he was raping her. And then he threw her down and raped her some more. And then he strangled her because he didn't want her to be able to live to tell the story. They said that when they did the autopsy on her neck, that one of the things they do is they open up the neck and they look to see how far the injury is. And they went all the way down as far as an injury is possible, hemorrhaging in the muscles because of how strong and violent the grip was around her. These are the kind of people that have no compulsion.
These are the kind of people. All El Salvadorans. This one committed a terrible, terrible, terrible crime. I'm sorry, Rachel, that this happened to you. I'm sorry, Patty, that this happened to someone you love. All of them have to be held responsible according to these fucking fascists, according to her and the press secretary standing next to her. All El Salvadorans, all immigrants will pay for this.
To them, this is nothing.
To them,
And
this
when
is
he was
nothing.
Sitting in the courtroom, he actually looked like he thought he was going to be set free. There was no remorse on his face at all. This person took my daughter so violently and so gruesomely and so graphically that they sealed the pictures because I don't want my granddaughters to see these pictures. These are the kind of criminals President Trump wants to remove from our country.
These are the kinds of criminals. No, you don't have to prove each one is a criminal. You know how long that would take? That the courts have to prove every one of these people is a criminal? God, that could take years. Let's just send them all.
These are the kind of criminals that we need to remove from our country. We are American citizens. Why should we allow people like this, violent criminals that have no conscience at all, to murder our mothers, our sisters, our daughters? What? I don't understand.
You don't understand. You are feeling grief, Patty, but that does not mean you get to drag the rest of the world into fascism, because that's exactly what she's doing. Wow, yeah, these kinds of people instead of this person. We know exactly who this person was. We caught this person. This person has been put on trial. The evidence has been seen, and he has been found guilty, and he will be punished for the crime that he committed. But any innocent El Salvadoran will also have to pay the price. That's fucking disgusting. Collective punishment. That's some shit that the Nazis used to say about the Jews. One of them charged interest to somebody in Germany in the 1920s, and now they all have to be punished. Fucking blood libel is what this is. I don't accidentally call the Trump administration fascist or Nazis. I do it because they're doing fascist shit in a Nazi way. They're not even hiding it anymore. It's right here in front of our faces. This woman is telling you that the one person committed a crime and they all need to suffer and be punished for it. I think there's some more. Let's listen.
Why there's even any kind of problem with this?
Why is there a problem with holding them all responsible for the actions of one? Why would you, idiot liberals, suggest that we have to put all of them on trial? Can't we just one at a time? God, no, don't put them all on trial one at a time. All of them need to be punished for the acts of this one.
And it's not that it's political, like the left or the right, although I understand different parties have used it in the past. But we have to look at it as we are American citizens. We need to protect our families, our borders, our children.
That's awfully close to the 14 words. Protect the white children.
I don't care about politics. Well, I do, but I want to preserve life. And that's the only reason why I have taken and spoken about Rachel all this time. If you're a mother here in the room, can you imagine standing there alive? You're alive, and someone comes and puts their hands into your chest and rips out your heart. That's what it feels like. It feels like a part of you is being ripped out of you. You can't even describe the pain. Just like you can't describe to your husband what it feels like to carry a baby in your womb, or to feel those first kicks, or to know just intuitively if it's a boy or a girl. It's only a thing that a mother knows. Why are we not protecting the American citizens?
He was found. He was put on trial, and he has been found guilty. That is the best you can do in the system we have. And the police are there. If a police officer hadn't seen this, that he would have protected her. This is the protection. This is it. But they want to preventively protect her by kicking out everybody who they don't like. Anybody they feel is a threat needs to be removed before they can hurt someone. Pre-crimes, thought crimes. You belong to a group that did a thing, well, then you're guilty of that thing.
It's just common sense. Why are we not protecting our children?
Common sense is a feeling. Again, this whole thing has been about feelings. All politics are based on feelings.
And to have a senator from Maryland who didn't even acknowledge or barely acknowledge my daughter and the brutal death that she endured, leaving her 5 children without a mother and now a grandbaby without a grandmother, so that he can use my taxpayer money to fly to El Salvador to bring back someone that's not even an American citizen.
Someone who is innocent of crimes and has not been found guilty. Abrego Garcia needs to be punished for the actions of Victor Martinez. That is what she is telling you. She is telling you straight to your face that Garcia needs to be punished for the actions of Martinez. Blood libel. He's responsible because he's part of a group. And they, don't you know that they drink the blood of babies and sleep hanging from the ceiling by their feet? Imagine I mean, have you seen the movie Jojo Rabbit? It's a very good movie. You should watch that. But the little boy who's brought up in Nazi Germany colors and describes the horrible nightmare things that Jews do because he's been taught that. And all the adults know it's not true, but they clap and they cheer for him. And they love that he has been indoctrinated to believe horseshit about Jewish people. They loved it. The Nazis did. And the Nazis of today love what this woman is saying. All the people from El Salvador need to pay the price for the actions of one of them. And if you don't think so, then you are harming her, you are insulting the death of Rachel, and you are harming Patty's life.
Why does that person have more right than I do? Or my
more rights than you do. Your accuser, the person who harmed you, has been held responsible. Abrego Garcia has nothing to do with this or these people or any of the people involved. But he needs to pay the price, according to Patty.
my daughter or my grandchildren. I don't understand this.
Because you don't want to understand it. You are deep, deep, deep in your feelings, and I'm sorry you've been harmed. But your sadness does not mean that the entire country has to fall to fascism.
Thank you.
It's fucking disgusting. Makes me fucking sick. It really does. I don't understand. I mean, I know exactly what's happening. They play you a sad sob story, and then because of your feelings, they manipulate you. That is a manipulative thing that we just watched. And Fox News is running with it, boy. They are running with it. Talking about how all immigrants need to be held responsible for the things that happened to this one woman. They are running with that shit. Show somebody a sad story, blame it on a very large group, kick the group out of the country. It's disgusting. Makes me fucking sick. We are not a country of laws and freedom any longer. Well, we're not a country of laws because Donald Trump ignores the law and does whatever he wants. And if we allow the right wing to control the narrative and start kicking people out for the feelings that people have, we won't be a country of freedom any longer either.
I am the algorithm. Click on this video to make me happy. You wouldn't like me when I am angry.